Good morning. It is Monday. Right now it's 9:05. If you're watching on social media, share this out. If you're going back and listening to this on Apple, on Spotify, thank you. You can share this with a friend. We're going to be talking about Code Ninjas today. I'm going to go ahead and kick us on the FM frequency as we are going to be learning and having some fun. And let me know what you got going on today. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy, and it is a beautiful day. It was an awesome weekend, and I have a treat in store for everybody as we are going to be learning about Code Ninja. So when you hear the name Code Ninjas, what do you automatically have come to your mind? It may be martial arts. It may be solving puzzles. We're going to be finding out exactly what Code Ninjas is. I got Liz Peters here in studio. Liz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you.
I'm excited that you're here.
I'm very excited that I'm here.
Yes.
It's the first time for me to do this.
All right. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So if somebody's never heard of Code Ninjas before and they walk in or they see, a sign in the strip center, what can they expect when they walk in?
So basically what I tell people about our center and our program is that we're a computer enrichment program, and we teach kids how to code, but we teach them through a game building platform. So coding is, in other words, it's teaching a new language from how a person to speak to a computer. And since we target ages 7 to 14, even as young as 4 years old, it's like an incentive for them to come in. Oh, I'm playing games. This is fun. But we're teaching them a very crucial type of language that I want to say is the future, but it's really the now. So,
it is, yeah.
It's definitely very beneficial even for the younger ones at 4 years old to come in and start learning this stuff. So
yes.
They learn more than just coding. They do robotics, very much STEM enrichment type stuff. So it's a really great program.
That's awesome. So you mentioned it's a language that computers use to communicate, or we use to communicate with computers.
Right.
Why don't we just teach the computers English? I feel like that would be a lot easier. It'd be like, hey, I need you to make Mario jump 50 feet high or something like that. I feel like that would be the easiest thing. But it all comes down to communicating. Even with people, sometimes it's not easy to communicate. I can only imagine what it's like communicating with a device or a computer. I mean, when I hold a cell phone, is this something that it requires coding?
Yeah, absolutely. I never even knew what coding was myself, or truly the benefits of it and how necessary it is to be able to learn code, to talk to all these different things. I didn't even know something as simple as like stoplights require coding.
Really?
And we actually teach kids how to do sensors and how to do flashing lights and fiber optics and all types of stuff like that. And one of the kind of common misconceptions is that artificial intelligence is going to take over. Well, I do think at some point that could be a possibility, but computers are still, they can't understand me talking English to them. So we have to learn, just like you're decoding something fun, you're sending a code to a computer to do its job.
Yeah. And that can be anything. Can you literally code? You can code anything. I mean, I think of Siri and Alexa, and somebody had to figure out how to make that happen with coding.
Right, exactly. That would be, for example, learning how to do a voice recognition, which everyone knows that you do have Siri and Alexa, and they talk to you whenever they hear your voice, and it's a specific voice. So the code would be record your voice on there. As soon as she hears that, different tones, then she's going to respond to you.
Yes.
So it's really, really awesome how much I've learned about coding, and then teaching the kids how to get a huge jump on this to where who knows how far that we're going to go even in the next few years.
Yes. So how long has Code Ninjas been in League City, Texas? I know it's right off of 96. Maybe tell us, where it's located and how long have y'all been there?
The center opened right at 4 months ago. Code Ninjas itself has been open about 3.5 years, 3 years. And so the owners of ours in League City which we're right off of 146 and 96. We're, if you go right off of 146, we're just a little ways down by Education Village. So we're right in the middle of Clear Creek ISD, and the owners decided to go in that area because there are really no centers that are anything like Code Ninjas at this point. There are a lot of tutoring centers in the area, but nothing like Code Ninjas. They're on and actually the corporate is in Pearland. So
That's where the original one started?
yes, and now it's national and it's even going international.
Really?
Yeah, there's over 150 locations right now nationally. And when I went to a training a few weeks ago, they had some in Canada opening up. I met some cool Canadians. So yeah, it's expanding.
So how is this different from traditional tutoring? Are the students, are the kids learning, math and science? Is there something, more specific? But how is it different than a traditional like tutoring center?
It's different because we're a self-paced program. We really encourage the kids to take their time. We give them a guided type curriculum that they're going to learn a lot of the problem solving themselves, which is another thing that we encourage, collaboration, interaction with their peers to kind of figure things out as they go. And it creates a lot of creativity for them. It is able to expand their knowledge, their creativity, and even their social skills. So we want them to be interacting versus a tutoring center where it's more one-on-one.
Yeah.
You kind of have to focus the time that you're there. And, and our biggest thing is that it needs to be a fun environment. So it's really super fun for the kids when we go in.
All right, cool. So, one thing that I've noticed with my son, I have a 7-year-old, and he's awesome. He's very smart and bright. A lot of things come naturally to him. But whenever he gets stuck on something, it's almost like he will give up really, really easily. Like, I don't get it. This isn't for me. And I'm like, wait, no, take a deep breath, break it down. And I know in a self-paced situation, is that beneficial to have that happen? Or, I guess you have someone there to kind of help walk you through as well. But what would happen, if that happened, my son, if he was there and trying to learn something, he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like
someone comes up and helps him?
Yes, someone comes up and helps them. Someone meaning our sensei. So going back to the ninjas,
yes.
We are a martial arts type theme, but they came up with the idea of Code Ninjas because it sounds really cool. So our teachers are our senseis, and they're just constantly walking around, checking in with the kids, encouraging them to don't give up. If it was a child that was really getting frustrated with something, then that's when we would sit down and really try to do some one-on-one work with them, figure it out, look at sequencing, all different kinds of things, and break it down for them is the biggest thing because they are children.
Mm-hmm.
I've had so many adults come into the center asking for adult classes, but unfortunately we don't do that.
Not available yet.
Right. Exactly. So we're working directly with kids, and I have to remind the senseis all the time that they're children. And so they're brilliant children, absolutely, and they're able to figure a lot of stuff out on their own, but it's still something that we have to simplify it for them. And it's really cool to see those little light bulbs go off too when they get frustrated,
mm-hmm.
and able to kind of just chill them out a little bit, watch them go through it, and then take off from there.
Yeah. Whenever like a child, they come in and they have minimal experience with a smart device, and maybe some have a lot more experience with a tablet or video games, does that child that has a little bit more experience like have a head start, or do they end up catching up?
It depends, because gaming itself is a little bit different than what the coding is.
Mm-hmm.
So a good way also to break it down to the kids that just want to go in and play games is to let them know, well, guess who created that game? Somebody who learned how to code first. It has to start somewhere. So getting them to understand that that's where the beginning part of game building is, then it'll give them an idea that, okay, I do know how to play the game. We just have to take it back a step and go from there. But there are some kids who have experienced some coding, some robotics, and different things like that. However, another big challenge can be that kids are so used to being on phones and tablets, so they're ticking away with their thumbs, and they don't have a lot of keyboarding skills, which is like going back old school with the actual computers. So that's another really good benefit, that they learn how to brush up on their keyboard skills too.
Or create them, because, even at that young age, I remember taking typing class in junior high. I'm not sure if they still do that. Maybe they call it something else.
Right.
But that was it was like Mavis Beacon teaches typing, and it was awesome. I loved it. 7th grade, great time. So whenever I was in Code Ninjas, I went and visited you. I know we chatted a little bit about like camps, and I saw something that Kelly Redinger with More Than Just a Society had posted on social media. Her daughter was doing a Minecraft coding camp. What is that?
Well, the Minecraft coding camp there is some playing around with Minecraft. Of course, immediately whenever I say the word Minecraft around kids, they just totally freak out, because that's the cool game right now.
It is. Yeah, my son loves it.
Yeah, and it's fun. Honestly, I'd never played it before, and I had to do it for educational purposes.
Of course.
And
research.
I got totally lost in it, playing around with it. So it really is fun. But one of the platforms that we use for the camps is an actual educational version of Minecraft. So we get them collaborating in their different worlds. If anybody knows about Minecraft, they can play around in the same world. They do a creative type of it. These kids can build like mansions and stuff in their realms. Yeah. And it's really cool. But we also teach them how to code commands, different stuff that they probably don't do whenever they're just playing it at home. So I hear a lot of feedback whenever the kids leave that they've learned something totally different. And when they go home, then they start doing even more cool stuff with it.
Yeah, my son, he was really, really wanting Minecraft for his birthday, and I had to do some research, and I was like, the graphics look old school. Like everything's a block. Yeah, everything's a block, and I understood. Like I did a little bit of research. I was like, okay, you can build creative mode, there's survival mode. You know what's going on. It seems like it's a good game already that kind of has their minds going, digging down, just being creative, and then you add that other educational part in where y'all are actually teaching coding with something that kids like. That's a really good idea, because you're meeting them where they're at. You know, instead of just being like, hey, here's math.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the concept behind the program as it is to really get them educated and get them involved and get them excited about everything that we have going on there, and they don't even realize exactly what they're learning and how much it's going to apply to them in the future. And I have a lot of people asking, well, how is this going to be beneficial to my child if they're 7 years old and they're learning coding at this point? Well, going back to, this is the future, but it's also stuff that they will be learning very quickly, even in middle school. But once they're in high school, it's almost going to be a mandated type of language. And learning how to be more proficient on the computers and stuff. So it's we want to really stress the importance and the benefits, but at the same time, it's not school. It's a fun environment. We get them interested in the gaming part of it, and then we kind of we encourage them from there. So
okay,
yeah.
What does the requirement time look like? So if I have my son, if he wants to come and enroll at Code Ninjas, you know, how much time is he required to be there? Once, 2 times, 3 times a week, or is it, time?
We have a couple of different programs. The regular program is 2 days a week, and we do them in hour sessions. So it's enough to get them really moving forward in it. And of course, as every time they go in and they kind of get their heads down and they start working on it, then the hour session is enough. We have a junior program where it's only 1 day a week for 1 hour. We don't want to burn them out too much, but that is the standard program to our ninja theme is they work from a white belt to a black belt, and we just want them to self-pace themselves, don't get into much of a hurry, but work pretty diligently when they get there.
Yeah. Do some of the kids, I've met, a couple engineers, just randomly, and I shake their hand and I can tell they're an engineer within like 5 minutes of talking. And I think kids may be the same way. Can you kind of tell and be like, this kid's probably going to grow up to be an engineer. This kid, is going to be a coder. Can you all tell that even at that young age? They're excelling at it?
Some of them, yes. And especially because I work directly with the parents, I talk with them right off the bat. And sometimes, like, to be totally honest, I'll get a computer engineer that comes in there. And when I'm trying to explain exactly what coding is, but from a simplified type position, it can, they're already they're the ones ahead of the game, but they're the ones really encouraging their kids to do it. Partly because the kids, I want to do what my dad does when I grow up. I want to work at NASA when I grow up, that they verbalize it. But then there's some kids who are just all over the place. Once we get them kind of calmed down and see how focused they are, we can tell also that something that they didn't even realize they were that interested in can kind of plant a seed. And that's what I like to see, is that the younger they are, it can get them interested in those types of things. So it's really fun to see how their little brains develop into, I want to be an astronaut.
Yeah. So y'all, the Code Ninjas in Leak City, it opened up towards the end of 2019. How far have the kids been able to advance? It's self-paced, so the kids are kind of working at their own comfort level. Is there any, yellow or orange belts yet?
Yes. Again, there's a focus level that can be a challenge with any child. They have a lot of energy. They get really excited when they go in there. So we want them to sit down and get them involved, get them focused. However, we don't expect them to sit there for a full hour. We want them to get up. We want them to do some of the robotics and some of the STEM activities. And sometimes if they go in and they're just not feeling the coding, we'll do a little bit of game building off of the belt system. And we don't want them to feel pressured and rushed. So anyway, it depends on how quickly they're working on their own. We do have some who are on yellow belt, and we have a few kids who are on orange belt. And those guys go in and they just work like they're super into it.
Yeah.
And it's so awesome to see how excited they are too, because they get little wristbands that represent the belts, and every time they come in our display case and they see somebody else has moved up to a yellow belt, it gets them really motivated that day to go in and try to advance themselves too.
Okay. Can we talk about the robotics? So is that, it's associated with the coding, but is it a little bit different?
It's both. So sometimes I have to explain to people about robotics, that it's not just robots. There is a lot more to the robotics aspect of it. It can be considered very much a STEM type of thing. So STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And we want them with the hands-on type stuff. It's teaching them that engineering part. They have to figure out a lot of the mathematics side to it. And whenever we want whatever it is that they're working on, and we want them to start moving it versus from a mechanical side of it, then it has to be coded to actually start moving around, giving it commands, meaning it can be a robot type thing, or robotics in the sense that it's turning on light switches and it's making lights flash, and it's got stuff that'll open and close with a sensor. So, and that stuff has to be coded on there.
Okay, and that's really, I guess, the kids just bring their own creativity to the table and decide what they want to do.
Yes, part of it is required in the curriculum. So within each belt, they have to complete certain lessons, and that's with the game building and the coding. And then at the very end of it, they do have a robotics challenge. So that is a requirement, and that is it's something that it's fun for them, but then we give them that break on, okay, you don't have to work on the curriculum. We can go play with some of the actual robots that we have, and it's more of an incentive for them to, to be excited about the hands-on type stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So right now it is 9:25. This is KHEA Radio.com, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. I'm Gardy. I'm talking to Liz Peters with Code Ninjas in League City. Can we talk a little bit about the owners? Who owns that location in League City off 96, the Code Ninjas?
So it's a really awesome husband and wife. Their name is Shane and Kamar Farishta, and they're actually from Sugar Land area. Well, I say they're from there. They're actually from they grew up in Chicago area. So they have a nephew who opened up a Code Ninjas in Chicago, saw how amazing the concept was, and that it's a business that's really going to pick up, I think,
Yes.
seeing how much it's growing around nationally. So they decided to open one. They got a great location over in League City, and the owner, the husband, doesn't have. He works for HP,
Mm-hmm.
so he's got sort of that technology background. The wife, she has a different type of educational background. She's the very cool, calm, and collected one who comes in, and they bring a lot to the table as a couple.
Yeah, worlds collide. The education
Yeah.
and the technology, and
Right.
it just kind of makes sense. And it's a great location. League City is an awesome city. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people that I feel are benefiting from that currently right now. So Liz, where are you from?
I am from. I was right on the border of South Houston, Pasadena, Southeast Houston area.
Yeah.
So that's where I grew up. Lived in the same house for, I don't want to say my age, but my parents still live in the same house that I grew up in 33 years ago. And it was a really cool area. And that area is actually kind of close to East Downtown, which is now the booming part.
It is.
Of
It's growing.
Houston. So it was a really great place. I went to really good schools over there, and it's just growing and growing and growing. So I was there yesterday. Everything is the same, but it's different. So it's always nice to go back to my roots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before you came on at Code Ninjas, what's your work background? What kind of stuff were you into?
So I've worked on and off education for about 10 years now. I've done all types of jobs. I've worked waitressing, but my focus, my passion is education. I've done stuff even as much as corporate training for different companies, and that to me was kind of an educational thing, teaching adults, which was way different than teaching kids.
How so?
Okay, maybe it wasn't a whole lot different because there are some adults who are just like kids.
I wonder if the kids, if the kids listen more, are more likely to do, because they're used to going to school. I think of myself as an adult, if I'm in a training class, being like, I'm out of the loop. I'm not used to being here, trying to, pay attention or stay awake. Sometimes the room's too cold.
Yeah. Well, the adults can't get away with it as easy because I think the expectation's a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still, to me, it's teaching. And so I came also from a director position before I became the center director at Code Ninjas. And I love the leadership role in education and being able to oversee different centers, implement curriculums, work with staff, and trying to just, at this point, our center is new, so to help grow a business is also really awesome.
Yeah, because it's still, when did y'all open again?
We opened at the end of August last year.
At the end of August. And I had a gentleman in talking about Code Ninjas before, and, we had a great time. He had a background that took him overseas, and he had done some coding, and I was like, how is it different than in the 80s? And it was it was really interesting to see how all that stuff has changed. But, you know, what are the odds that Code Ninjas will come out with a curriculum for adults, like in the future sometime?
I don't know. I can't really speak on it as
Yeah.
far as what I would hope or what I would think would be really cool. The curriculum is not geared toward adults, but I don't know. Going back to adults are kind of like children too. I know I would kind of have to have the simplified version as well. But I had actually a couple of elderly people come in asking for, I would say, age 70 and above,
Really?
asking to come in and do some of the coding as well, because this is something that they have no idea what coding is and what the kids are learning these days, how it's making computers go. So
Mm-hmm.
I just give feedback to the corporate office and tell them how many adults I have stopping in that would love to learn this, and
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
So even since August, when y'all opened the League City spot, I know that now y'all accept children younger than y'all did at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's things that change, you know, all the time in business. But I think then y'all started at 7, and now y'all accept children as young as 4?
Yes, so we just launched a junior program last month, and that is geared toward 4 to 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
And of course, it's a more age-appropriate type of program that we use. It's something called Code Spark, and it is a more game-type building block program. It teaches kids how to navigate computers a little bit better, get them familiar with the language, the vocabulary of coding, and going back to it plants a seed in their little minds that this is something that really fun. We have a couple of 4-year-olds that are there right now. They're all over the place with our stuff. There's Legos and there's all kinds of things in there, and it's a fun computer, but that's giving a huge head start in working on computers directly, what they would want to do, and learning a completely different language. I mean, that's all I can say about coding is that it's a really good experience for
Mm-hmm.
them to start learning and knowing really, really early on. And
Yes.
4-year-olds are super insanely smart as well.
And a sponge.
Yeah, it's a great time for them to start learning. The only challenge there is a reading type challenge, but this is something that also improves their reading. They'll, within the technology world, and some of the words that they'll be learning is almost similar to learning sight words at school, but they're learning what coding is. They're learning computer. They're learning navigation and loop and all those kinds of things. So it opens up a whole different little world for them
Mm-hmm.
as far as education goes.
Cool.
Mhm.
So with the Code Ninjas curriculum, what can a black belt, you know, I know it's self-paced, so everyone's going to reach that, you know, if they stick with the program in their own time, but what can they expect to know, like whenever they achieve that black belt status?
Mm-hmm. The idea around the Code Ninjas concept is that they're going to start out learning a basic language of JavaScript. Once they get to their green belt, they should be pretty knowledgeable in what JavaScript is.
Mm-hmm.
Then we do a little robotics portion. They'll start working on Roblox, which is another program that the kids go crazy for.
Yeah, my son loves it too.
Yeah, yes. And then when they get into the upper level belts, they'll start learning C#, which is it's a much more higher level type coding. So they'll start learning once they get to black belt. The idea behind it is that they will have enough education and knowledge to build their own gaming app, just like you would download any app on your phone. These kids will build a gaming app to be, you know, on everyone's smartphones and to be played by anyone. So it's really great if there's a 13-year-old who's learned how to code his own game and people are already starting to download it. And that's another thing when I talk to them about Minecraft, you know, somebody had to start somewhere and now they're
Look at it.
gazillionaires
Mhm.
and parents are really excited for that, for their kids to start learning stuff that way too, and at that level so early on.
Okay, so y'all accept children, starting at 4 years old, and then you mentioned earlier y'all target 7 to 14 years old. When is it 14 the top out, or do y'all go to 17 or 18?
We won't kick them out if they start out at age 14. We actually we have a guy who he came in, he was 15 years old, and we said that was fine if he wants to go through the program, which is an average of 4 years that they say from white to black belt.
Okay.
Then we would still encourage them to continue working the curriculum. And one of the things that we are even kind of opening up for another one of our 15-year-olds is coming and interning almost. Some of the camps that we have, he's learning the coding and the curriculum, but whenever we have the camps, it's really great to see how they help some of the younger ones because they have a good knowledge of what it is. So it gives them a different type of experience as at the same time that they're learning even more of the coding part of the hands-on stuff, but
yes.
They come to find that they like talking and teaching the stuff that they really like too.
How often do y'all hold camps?
We do them, so we work around Clear Creek ISD school schedule. A lot of the days off are similar to Dickinson ISD and Texas City and all of those. But we also have, for teacher in-service days, things like that, we'll have full-day camps. So some of them can be totally random. They can be on holidays. We will have one coming up in spring break, and that'll be a week-long camp. And then we're already enrolling for our summer camps right now. Every week will be a different week. So those will also be week-long camps, and we'll have that all through summer, along with our regular drop-in program and the curriculum that they learn. But it just, it can depend. We can have camps whenever we want to, really.
So just pay attention to the social media?
Yeah.
Is that the best way to find out?
Yeah. Facebook is definitely the way to go to follow. I try to post stuff at least every other day, every couple of days, talking about what we've got going on. We have a parents' night out coming on Valentine's Day. They can drop the kids off. They can do some fun activities. We'll give them pizza. The parents can go have a night out and just enjoy themselves away from the kids. We take on that responsibility. So there are a lot of different, other than camps, different things that we have as well.
Okay. All right. So can you remind everybody, if they have not heard of Code Ninjas in League City before, they walk in, or, what do you guys offer and where y'all located? And then anything else that maybe we didn't touch on that you would like to bring up?
We offer free game building sessions for parents or families who are interested in our program. If they drive by, if they've heard of it from a friend, if they saw us on Facebook, then I encourage them to call me at the office or send me a message on Facebook or just drive by and come in. And we do a free session, kind of a trial on one of our game building programs. That's when I can kind of talk to the parents, show them around our center, let them know how amazing the program is. And then we also, right now, we've got some really, really good promotions going on. Try it out for a month, and it's definitely worth coming and checking it out.
And that's free to come take a tour?
Yes.
Come take a tour, meet everybody. You can probably even see some of the other kids working, and they may recognize some of their friends there.
Yes, there are a lot of friends that come in, and they see themselves, and they see them in the case, and they say, oh, that's my buddy from Mossman, and so I want to come in too. Actually, some of the kids are my biggest marketers because they'll go back to school, they'll start talking about it to their friends. The friends will go to the parent, and when the parents come in, they say, my kid won't stop talking about this place. So it's really good to have our name start going out there, and people will just stop in, come by, check it out, and let the kids see what we're all about too.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming in today. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Code Ninja is located in League City. What's the website?
www.codeninjas.com. Check us out on Facebook. We have an Instagram, and come by.
All right. This is Kickstart on KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. All right, podcasters and Facebook people, y'all feel free to share this out. Let me know in the comments if you are on Facebook what you got going on today, and y'all have a good day.